3, 2, 1, go. Welcome to Skate IQ's mini ramp progression live stream. If you're on YouTube, welcome. If you're watching through Twitch, welcome. And if you're late, you couldn't watch live, and you're watching the VOD, welcome. Today I'm going to bring you through mini ramp skills and tricks that I really think you should know. There's a standard progression that will make your life a lot easier if you figure out a few of the basics. Focusing on this small, or I would say it's like a medium-sized transition, but at home you definitely don't need a transition this big to get everything out of a mini ramp. If anything, I'd recommend even smaller, like a 3-foot, a 4-foot, to learn all your base tricks, then we move up from there. Let me hop in the chat and say what's up to the peeps in there. What's up, Joel and Mario and Quinn? Man, we're popping off right away. I actually really like doing these streams. And I'm happy you guys enjoy them. Basically, it works like this. It's very simple. If you guys enjoy them, we keep doing them. Perfect. Binary. Throw those headphones in at your session and you'll be all set. Cloud, baby gravy. I feel like we should get right into it with the first skill. So we're gonna start with the thing everybody needs to know to skate a mini ramp. And it is simply the drop-in. But you'd be surprised how many beginner and intermediate skaters never fully figure out the drop-in. It, in my opinion, should be one of the first things that not only that you learn, but it should be something that you master early on in your transition skating career. Whenever you stand on the coping, this has to be your zone. You're about to get into the ramp to do the hard stuff. If you're scared while you're up here, if you don't believe in yourself on actually getting into the ramp, I promise it's going to make things like the rock to fakie, the back disaster, or the frontside grinds, or whatever you want to learn, it's going to make it near impossible because you're already distracted thinking about other things while you're on the deck. Okay? To make the drop-in easier, let's stand on the board comfortably on the deck. You'd be surprised how many students at this stage of the drop-in, when I say, okay, put your front foot on the board, they start going, and they go automatically. It's crazy. I did not expect that to be a problem when I first started teaching drop-ins. I thought it would be a natural thing for everyone to get up here, put some weight on their front foot. Like I could push on my board. No part of me feels like I'm going into the ramp. If I push really hard, it just ain't happening. It's just not dragging me in the ramp. The tail just picks me up. I swear it's like 10 out of 10 times when I tell a student to start pushing on the nose, they'll go and end up in the ramp. So what we're going to do to solve that is plant your heel on the ground off your tail, right? So I have my back foot in the center of the tail and I have my heel on the deck. And I'm standing on my heel here. Let's see if I can move the board around, right? So that's how much pressure is on my heel. I can actually pick up my toe and push it back down. If you're standing on the board with your entire foot, I think that makes you more likely to slip into the ramp accidentally. So, plant your heel on the ground. That lets you plant your front foot into the board nice and firm. Another thing that gives you is you can set up your front foot for ages. So like, if you want to make sure you got your front foot exactly where you want, you can do that from this position. If you start falling into the ramp, you don't have time to adjust your front foot. It's sort of wherever it is where it's going to end up. You want to be able to move it around, make sure you get it exactly where you're most comfortable. And then start your drop-in sequence. Okay, to start this drop-in sequence, let's start by doing it on flat ground. There's a very important piece of your drop-ins, and it's not leaning forward, and it's not putting a bunch of pressure on your front wheels into the ground. Yes, that helps, but the main thing that I want you to focus on is you need to get your weight over your skateboard. Everybody thinks about going into transitions as leaning forward and backwards. Makes sense, sort of. If I want to go up a transition, I better lean this way and the opposite to go down. The problem is, you're going to end up looping out. 15 out of 10 times. Instead of leaning, I want you to adjust your weight placement on your board. As you're going down a transition, you can make sure you're on the center or a little bit towards the nose with your balance. So if my feet are this wide, I can place my balance right here on the board. If my balance is a little bit forward on my way down, I'm going to have a lot of pressure into my front leg, and that's going to be really stable, right? And if you want to see this in action, when I drop in, if I put my weight right there, the front wheels naturally slam onto the ground with pressure. That's our goal, get the front wheels down with pressure. Okay? The reason I'm harping on this is because if I just say to slam your front wheels down, people do this, which is very dangerous. If I'm standing here and I don't shift my weight over the board and I just put my front wheels down by pushing, see how quickly my back wheels roll out? Versus if I just shift my weight up over the front trucks, now my front wheels are going to hit the ground. Now I'm balanced over the center of the board. It's a very important perspective shift that I want you to make right now. This is like prerequisites before we get started. Trick number 0, trick number 1, whatever you want to call it, this is what you got to start with. There are a bunch of different ways to get over the front of the board. Some are better for big transitions and some are better for small transitions. A very simple way that seems to be easier for newer skaters is to just slide your weight forward over the board. No like technique, no technical teaching. Visualize yourself sliding your hips forward up over the board. This works great. Sometimes I see this move, which I'm not the biggest fan of this move when it comes to longevity, but to get started it's just fine. Down and in. That works great. You can feel a lot of weight on your front foot and seems to be pretty safe. The move that I like is off of the ball of your back foot. So you're in the drop-in, you're standing on the deck. You stand up on the ball of your back foot, you step a little forward, right? That will put your weight up over your front foot really nicely. It'll also give you this springboard off of the tail, so you can get a big pump out of it if you want. So we can watch that not in slow motion, we can watch that one more time though. Right here, a lot of weight up on that back ball of my foot. I'm pushing my weight over that front truck, straight down into it. And you can see how much weight I get down into that front truck. That feels really nice, all right? If you struggle getting forward or you go forward too far, you're probably sending your weight down into the ramp and diagonally, right? Like at this angle. I want you to get up and over your skateboard and then down. not pushing down through the board, right? It's a very small difference, but instead of pushing down this way, I can feel like I get up over the top of it, and then I can push. All right, so now that we have like the basics, we can get into the drop-in. How do we make sure our foot gets into the right place? And honestly, I don't expect you to get this one right because it's a little counterintuitive. So Brock, if you could focus on the tail of the skateboard. If I put my back foot on the tail over here to get ready, like most people do, then I turn my foot. Look at my toes end up off of the board. Where if I put my back foot on the board, where my back foot is aimed straight up the 2 bolts from the center of the board, then I turn it. Look at that back foot placement. It's beautiful.
Can you switch mic pockets?
Sure. It's all the way on the tail. This is the position that we want to drop in from. So, when we're up on the coping, you can line your foot up the center of the board, twist it. Oh, that's nice. Now we're in a really good spot, and we can drop in from there. Drop-ins should feel intuitive, like you can be aggressive, like you can be powerful. You should never be stressed about being able to get over the front trucks. In general, should be something that you have on lock and something that you wake up excited to do. Every great skateboarder I know, the drop-in is their way into the ramp. It's like a meditation. Get your foot on your board, take a breath, and you go. You're thinking about everything besides the drop-in. If you're still struggling with that stage of your progression, really dial it in, really focus on it for as long as you need to, so you can be set for life. Okay, let me take some questions on this drop-in. Cloud, it should make a huge difference. I hope so. We're not doing a blunt 360 shove it out. You know, we're gonna go through this progression that we have mapped out for mini ramps. There is a spine here, and maybe later in the stream, if some things come together, maybe we could do a quick detour on the spine. That could be fun. It might fit in great. It might fit in nicely. Okay, how do you get over the fear aspect of a drop-in? And honestly, my way of doing that is just being playful. You should be able to bail all sorts of different ways on a transition pretty comfortably. And you should be able to drop in without your skateboard. Let me show you. So if I leave my board on the ground and I come up onto this ramp, how scared would you be? Would you be more or less afraid having your board or not? Generally, I find people are more afraid without their board, which is funny to me because the stick of wood with wheels is the thing keeping you safe, which I just don't buy it. Practice your drop-ins. See what it's like. Get used to the transition. Jump into the ramp, knee slide, butt slide. Like, you should be able to be comfortable with or without your skateboard. And you also should spend more time standing on the coping, right on the edge of the deck. Or just send it, as Zaydub says. I don't know who that is, Joel. Just catching up on some questions. What do you suggest? Darude says, what do you suggest for nursing bruised ribs? That's a tough one. Probably laying in bed and playing Skyrim and taking short breaths until your swelling goes away. Ribs suck. I thought I broke my ribs one time, and I didn't, and I was still in so much pain. And if you mess it up, it re-messes up. It's just one of those things that you should genuinely heal before you go too hard. It's kind of like a rolled ankle or something like that. Don't mess with them. Okay, we got a pretty cool, before we move on to the next thing, we got a pretty cool trick bounty running tonight. We're gonna start it nice and easy, nice and simple, but it should pop up as the goal in chat. So make sure you pay attention to that. Maybe I'll do some tricks for you guys as you please. And besides that, I did the cartwheel, but the way that the stream delay works, when we ended it, it cut earlier than we meant to. We waited till after the cartwheel, pressed end, but technology, man, it's impossible. That goal is set. That goal is officially set for the trick bounty. We'll move on to trick number 2. Wheels, no, don't break your kneecap. Don't play comp games if you have a broken rib, unless it's Rocket League. All right, trick number 2. We are gonna do tail stalls. The funny thing about tail stalls is everyone thinks that you have to do it on the coping. And whenever I show a student or I tell someone to try under coping, they think that I'm like offering them a death sentence. They think guaranteed they're gonna smash their tail into the ground, their board's gonna shoot out, and they're gonna be stuck looped out with a bruised rib like Darude. But that's just not the case. You want to keep your balance and learn how to lift your nose up while you're at the top of your chosen height. Even if you're halfway up, you can touch your tail on the ground. This is how you practice tail stalls. You can do it quickly and efficiently, and you can even mess with how much pressure you want to put in your tail. You can do it very light, where you might even miss. You can do it super heavy, where you're planted, and then you stand back up. Make sure you can mess with your pressure of the tail as you go, and then all you got to do is add height. When you add height, please also add patience. If I go fast and I move too quickly, that is one of the things that's going to send me off the board towards the transition, right? If I go, see how I got stuck and it brought my front foot in? So let's just make sure we're waiting all the way to the top of the transition and then touching. Then all you got to do is add a little bit of speed from there. And make sure you're being athletic in the sense that you aim for the coping, right? You're not just going fast arbitrarily. You're aiming for the coping. You're looking at it, and maybe you can stretch your board towards the coping and push your tail onto it by lifting up that front leg, right? This is not, even if I'm going fast enough to stand up on the deck, that just happens from speed. I'm standing up from speed. I'm not standing up from leaning into it super hard, okay? That's the biggest mistake everyone makes on tail stalls, is they lean into it too much and don't know what to do. And that does make it dangerous if you miss, all right? Like, yeah, I get why you guys are scared of them, because if you're leaning into it super hard and you do miss, you're gonna end up on your side. That's just facts. That's just how it works. Straight up. Does anyone have questions about tail stalls? I don't think I broke ribs, but probably soft tissue. How did that even happen? How are you out there getting smoked? Joel, have a good day. Thanks for saying what's up. Thanks for stopping by. Cole, we did some heel flip tips in yesterday's stream. The VOD is on our channel. It's properly time-stamped. It will be easy to find. We're gonna move on soon to that oxygen. Lisa, I sure hope so. If we're not running the best skate channel, please tell us how we can fix that problem, and we'll get on it to make sure we are running the best skate channel. Thank you, Anset. Appreciate it. How do you look at the coping behind you when you do them? Perfect. That's a great question for tail stall. I'm going to go answer this, and then we'll move right into trick number 3. Stay hydrated, Playboy. Where do you look at the coping? Do you look at it behind you or in front of you? Using your eyes is very simple. Your board is always directly underneath you. We want to keep it there. If your board's directly underneath you, you'll be okay. It doesn't matter if you're on a wall sideways, if you're upside down doing a backflip, if you're doing a kickflip 540 or a freaking 1260, all right? That board, whoosh, directly underneath you when you look down. You always have that as a reference, and you should use that whenever you need some comfort. Your eyes track along the line that you're skating, off of the toe side of the board, okay? Yes, when you're carving front side, you can look out front side, but you're never looking past where you can turn. Slowly bring your eyes out either direction, okay? We're gonna use this crack right here as a faux coping. So if I go, track my eyes here, I'm prepping for the tail stall. Now my eyes are tracking the coping, boom, it's right on it. And then once I'm in the tail stall and I'm happy, I can slowly track my eyes down the transition, look at the bottom of the transition, and then treat it like a regular drop-in, right? I'm just gonna point where my eyes are so we can get a good idea, okay? Coping, transition, coping, coping, transition, coping, coping, right? So that should give you a good idea. I'm never looking up over my shoulder. I'm never looking up at the sky. Even if my eyes do gaze out on the horizon, it's never going anywhere above that natural vision. And I'm always focused on the smooth ground in front of me. If you're looking at where you're skating, your life will get a lot easier, actually. I don't focus on this enough when I'm teaching, and I'm starting to more. That's like one of the ways that I'm trying to progress, is just making things easier instantly for people, and being aware of your eyes is going to be one of the best ways to improve drastically and quickly. I do reels. We got an ollie bounty. Okay, pause, gotta do an ollie. Oh. Make sure I'm warmed up. Eric Wallier hit the trick bounty for an ollie. Can't pull a muscle here. All right, let's break the ollie world record. That would be a fun stream. Thank you, Eric. Nice ollie. Thank you, Eric. Okay, this is like gun game if you've ever played Call of Duty. That trick bounty is gonna go up. Trick difficulty's also gonna go up. Tyler will be calling it out even if I'm doing a tutorial, and will immediately stop, drop, and roll and get straight to trying that trick. Focusing on your eyes will take you the furthest, because no matter how fast you're going or whatever trick you're doing, you can immediately get your vision under control and keep yourself in your little bubble where you're not afraid of anything. If you start losing your eyes and you're forgetting to breathe, skateboarding gets insane so quickly. All right, so just practicing this drill where you can track the transition with your eyes and then seamlessly look forward when you're supposed to will really help you and will really keep the ramp small, okay? People who struggle at transition tend to look like this at a timing that doesn't make any sense, okay? Even while I'm doing this, my balance isn't quite as centered as I feel it when my eyes are dialed in where they're supposed to be. I'm not gonna lie, that ollie was pretty fat. Like, I don't know from the perspective, but you know, I feel like I was getting up there. I feel like I could ollie up the 6th stair. All right. We got our tail stalls, we got our drop-ins, we got our eyes figured out. Let's move on to trick number 3, which is already being highly requested in chat. That I'm happy about that. It means we're all on the same page here. It means we understand our audience understands me. It's a two-way fit. That's what we're looking for here. Rock to fakies. We're gonna go through the very similar strategy that we did for tail stalls, except we're gonna add a bit of sauce to it, okay? First thing that you can do is go halfway and do wheel taps. This is how we learn tricks on transition. We take the easiest trick that we can accomplish right now, and we go get our reps up so we can build confidence. You build confidence with every single time you do it, okay? Then once you're comfortable with your double wheel taps, we do a double because you get in and then you get out. Can't hang up on the way out. Single wheel taps, you might hang up on the way out. Once you get that down, you're gonna reach your board forward into position, right? So I'm going very slow here. You can see how high I'm going, okay? I'm gonna pump a little bit and reach my board forward. You can see the height difference. It's almost a foot higher, okay? Same thing, pump and reach. That makes a very big difference in a couple of things. The ease of lifting that nose, it becomes very easy to do that double. It also trains me to not lean back, because if I reach forward and lean back, I'm gonna end up on my side in the transition. And it also shows us, it also reminds us that you can move that board around you, underneath you, which is probably the most underdeveloped skill in skateboarding. Something that changed my life in 2017 when I shifted my board forward in my basic stance. And if I'm ever struggling with tricks, it's generally because I just forget to shift the board forward or I'm having trouble doing so. So we can pick up our speed, reach for the rock to fakie, and do our double wheel lift. I have a good feel for how much I gotta lift up that front leg, but you won't if you're new, and that's okay. So what I want you to do is lift up your front leg as much as you can safely. Especially getting out of that rock to fakie, we just wanna make sure we miss the coping. As long as you're not hanging up, you're doing just fine. For optimal rock to fakies, let's start aiming our board for the coping. The closer your front wheels are to the coping in your rock, the more likely you are to hang up, essentially. We want to get your board at least halfway up onto the coping or more towards the back trucks. This will feel scarier because it feels like you have a bigger distance to clear with your front truck. But actually, from my experience, it gives you more leverage and it makes it easier to clear those trucks. Keep your weight in the ramp, meaning I'm not up on the deck like this. and then sliding in, and then going. Remember how we reach that board forward? This will let you keep your weight in the ramp, but your board high on the coping. That's a great shape. If you get that shape, you could do rock to fakies. Just get your reps up. You're doing just fine. Oh, what's up, James? For sure. James, we'll talk about it. We'll have a team meeting about it. Really struggling with my 1440s. Me too. Been working on them for like 7 years. I'll let you know when we get to that. I actually haven't skated mega ramp since the 1260. Fun fact. What's up, no one? Welcome back to the stream. How's it going? Red board. I wish we could pin a message. See if you can pin a chat. Hey, I asked about heel flip tips last night. I tried them today and landed 5 during my 25-minute session. That's like an extremely high rate. So that's pretty cool. When I go to fakie, I can't commit. I just kind of go over the coping. Meaning you don't want to lift your front, like, I don't know exactly what you mean. I just go over the coping, I don't commit. So you jump off. What's going on? Oh, I pinned it. Cool. Backsmith, maybe if we get to it later. We're going to run through the preset program of the live stream. See how that does, just as a concept in general. Like my hips go forward. Yes, beautiful. Great, great, great one. Okay. We can leave this here just for a moment. So, your hips are going to stay essentially in the same place the whole time for every trick you ever do. They'll go down and up and rotate around, but they're not really ever going to be going forward. This is probably what's happening to you. So when you look at a rock to fakie and your upper body gets really tall and maybe you're stretching or you're peacocking your chest and opening your shoulders, losing your vision of your board, this will naturally bring your hips forward. So all we want to do is keep that hinge in our hips, keep our upper body down a little bit better, facing the ground a hair more, and get this squat going. If you want to lift your legs, you can stay here. You can practice being in this position either just by being disciplined. You could practice it in your manuals. You practice it while you're skating around. You can also practice it just by going to the gym and doing some weightlifting stuff. A lot of those fundamentals transfer over to skateboard tricks. I can show you exactly what happens in your rock to fakie and maybe an easy way to stop your hips from doing that. So I'm gonna hop on my board and show you some examples. Sometimes the problem is simply just turning around too much. Right? If I turn around, that kind of blocks out my front leg from being able to pick it up. That makes it awkward. That for newer skaters, this can easily make the hips come out. Or just a general fear of going backwards can make the hips come out. I'm not sure why, but that seems very common. And it's usually paired with the arms going up, right? Almost every single time. So maybe even if your hips come forward, try to keep your upper body down and in and your arms down. You're going to be a lot less likely to do that than something like this. Okay. The next thing is get really comfortable riding in a genuine fakie stance. Set your back foot on the tail, really face your hips towards your target, and just skate forward and backwards at a very slow speed. But just avoid turning. You can turn your head, but avoid turning your body. Then you can just pick up your front truck and skate back down backwards. Once you get more comfortable with this, it should be easier to get in the rock to fakie and copy that position and come out backwards. Whenever I'm struggling or I need to make sure my arms stay down, I imagine like dragging my knuckles on my grip tape, right? If I were to bend down all the way, I can just drag my knuckles this way. This is a great spot to be. That naturally gets my hips back, naturally makes me very comfortable on the skateboard. Isolates the strength in my legs a lot more, but you know, it's the way of the road. Gotta have strong legs to be a good skateboarder. What's up, family? Clips. I don't read the script. Script reads me. I can't read that message, but it's hilarious. People say skateboarding saved their life. By teaching people to skateboard like this, you're saving lives. So sick to witness. Thank you. I just hope people are finding a lot of value and having a lot of fun, making friends, and using the channel to meet other skaters and to get better. It will have bigger impacts on some people than others, but overall, like everyone who enjoys the content, everyone who gets something out of the reel or the YouTube video or the live or our programs or the school community, like there's just a lot of places for you to get value from us, and that's like our big goal is wherever you are, whatever your goal is, we got something good for you. Especially if you want to be an absolute stellar skateboarder with a lot of friends, you should follow us. Greetings from Mexico, my friend. With you, I have improved my level in many aspects. I love it. I love it. I broke my collarbone also, but I did not break it skateboarding. I broke it snowboarding. I got a hunk of metal in there that I show people every chance I get. Tony Tellum, welcome to the stream from Texas. I also love Texas. I wish I could go a little bit more. I know they got great golf out there. Hey Clovis, it's going well. Just chilling. Crail tails always overspin. I really struggle with crail anything. Not sure why I never figured that one out, especially on vert. It just seemed awkward. I was actually better at like even seatbelts than crails. Not sure why. Jack Dewey spends 80% of his session today skating switch because it inspired him to get over caring about looking goofy. I just really appreciate that. I pinned the comment. I think that's really nice. I think in general, all of us can care a little bit less about what other people are thinking. And as long as you're staying true to your goals and you're moving forward, baby steps are just fine. Get 1% better every day. Honestly, like half of the battle is just showing up every day and staying focused on what you want. I think that's what matters the most. When I'm doing that in my life is better than when I'm not. So it's a very quick feedback. It's not a whole lot is left to interpretation there. We are not learning 900s. That is for sure. Thank you, family skating. Yeah, we could probably touch on board flips, but we're gonna keep with this program first. I like you too, channel. That's what's up. How do I break my skate park navigation anxiety? I'm autistic. It tends to be hard to read situations all the time. I feel like every time I go to a bigger park, I end up snaking someone. So, in general, skate parks are busy. You will end up going out of turn every once in a while. But so will everyone else. As long as your goals, while you're there, you're trying to get better and you are making an effort, maybe a small gesture, like putting your hand out, like, hey, you can go first. Or if someone does a sick trick, you can just bang your wheels on the ground a couple of times. Usually those kind of gestures will outweigh any accidental snaking. As long as all of you have the same goal at the skate park, which is to have fun, get better, not like try to purposely ruin anyone else's session, I think you'll be just fine. I wouldn't overread it, and if they're good people, they'll understand. Any tips on airwalks? Ice skate switch on. Okay, so we're gonna hit trick number 4. 3, 4. 5. We did drop in. We did tail stall. We did rock to fakie. Now, we're gonna hit some axle stalls. It gets so dry here, it's so dusty. Like you can see the top of my skateboard. It is absolutely a dust ball. Just drying me out every time. Okay, so for axle stalls, we can break it up into 2 sections. We could do the entrance and the exit. I'm gonna start with the exit, like getting back into the ramp, and then we'll build the entrance after. So we need to be able to get out. So we can start up on the deck just fine. The most important thing that I want you to get in your head right now is that when we're on the coping, we're orienting ourselves towards the coping. I am skating this way. I am not skating down the ramp at this point. I'm always skating towards the nose of my board. Don't let that tip go over your head. It is extremely valuable. Put my weight on my front foot. Step on my back foot very lightly. Nudge that board out so those back wheels are all the way up against the coping. Then I'm gonna take a squat, and as I load that back foot a little bit more, it'll naturally start to roll me in. As it starts rolling, that's when you rotate. Okay, it's a very simple process, but it's important to get right, okay? If you start over rotating, if you start getting weird, you can easily run into some issues with hanging up, and you can also run into some issues with having trouble getting your back foot in the right place, your back trucks, I mean, and you can run into trouble with your front foot hanging off the toe side like this, which I don't even want to show you dropping in from this foot position because I find it that scary and that dangerous. Keep your front foot all the way on the board. Orient yourself the right way. Let yourself rotate in naturally. To get into 50-50s, there's a couple of ways. We can just go wide, do a half kick turn, and then kick turn out of it. I mean, if you're an absolute beginner and you cannot get into 50-50s, this is a great thing to practice. Notice your balance when you're parallel to the coping. If you feel yourself falling in and you have to turn out of it super fast, then make sure you're adjusting your balance. You remember to skate towards your nose every single time. Okay, yes, that looks very simple and probably a little stupid. That's okay. Then, once you get that down where you're not falling forward, you can just pick up the speed and pick up the pace. But you understand where your balance has to be. So you can do these halfway taps on your kick turns. Maybe if you get comfortable, you can even touch your front trucks to the coping. Mix it up with some slash grinds. And then let's skip the coping, go all the way to the deck. Set your board up. Get your 50-50 in, and then restart. Okay? The reason we do that is because actually locking in is the scariest part. So if you get every other piece dialed, and all you have left is the lock-ins, you're doing well. when you want to start locking in properly, make sure you go at a medium speed, just like you would for a rock to fakie or a tail stall. When we're in the 50-50, we want our body to be at an angle. We don't want to be standing straight up all the way on top of the deck, taking a millennia to drop in every time. Nobody likes that. So let's go at a slower speed, like we would for these tricks, and just get in the 50-50 and make it one smooth motion. You can focus on just riding your back trucks all the way up into it and then slamming down. Or, my personal favorite, you can do the 90-degree little power slide into it. By doing the power slide, you actually can buy yourself a lot of wiggle room because you slide that back truck into place. You can be pretty aggressive, lock your heel into place right away, confirm a lot of grinds where otherwise you might end up going too fast or too slow. October, we started the live stream a little bit earlier last night, so it was during sunset. Right now, we just started it just after. We're in the same location, so I'm not sure. Any tips on getting into a frontside 50-50 stall? Yeah, we probably will touch on frontside 50-50 stall. We're just doing backside. I want to make sure that everyone is getting the answers that they're looking for on the backside 50-50. We have a goal set that is called Mitchie will do a tutorial on any trick that you want. In chat, click the goal to get all the details on how we can make that happen. This bottle, I actually don't know where I got it. It's huge, that's why I like it, and then I just started putting a bunch of stickers on it. I think this is a baggage claim boarding pass. We got Peach racing a car, and some Fortnite llama loot. On backside 50s, why do some people stay in the ramp and have trouble getting on the deck? That has to do with your speed. The slower you go, the more you're going to be in the ramp. The faster you go, the more you're going to be on the deck. There are some things that I can't explain about flattening out or like staying steeper. So like if you go up the ramp and you end up on the deck, it'll naturally stand you up. But I think those are just instincts, and so when you see a stand-up grind on the deck, you just know that their speed relative to their angle, it's that simple. They're going fast enough to do a fly up. They're going fast enough to get to the deck. That is most of the battle.
Ooh. Oh, we got one.
We hit a trick bounty from Eric Whallier. Is that the same guy?
Same guy, yep.
You're so keen. I love it. Pop shove on the trick bounties hit. Okay, I'm down. That's the rules of the game. This is my first shove of the night. That was pretty good. That was pretty good. I want one that, I'm gonna try one more. I'm happy with that. But it didn't have that same umph. There we go. I like that one. Thank you, Eric. Appreciate you. I'm happy to do the trick bounty. You're a legend. Super new, and I can barely ollie. you can give me tips for progressing and going up and down the ramps? Yeah, I really like this because this is like exactly what we're already doing. And we can just pump a little bit back and forth, and that's super relevant. So when you're on the transition, you just have to move your body relative to your change of direction. Once you figure that out, you'll be off and running. I don't care if you can ollie, if you can kickflip, if you can drop in or not. You can feel the weight of the transition, okay? The basics go like this. You bend down in the flat bottom, and you stand up just before you start going up the wall. So you start standing up, say at this seam. You're standing, you're standing, you're standing, you're standing, you're standing, you're tall. You get down, and then you're standing, and you're standing, and you're standing, and you're standing, and you're tall, and you get down. Then you start standing again. It's a very simple but specific rhythm. Once you get that down, you'll be off and running. Once you get better at it, you can actually feel like you're jumping off of the ground to gain speed, okay? I never understood how pumping worked, partly because people explained it like really stupidly with words I don't understand, like centripetal force and G-forces and all this stuff. To me, I understand it in like layman's terms. If I'm facing this way and I jump, I'm going to be going faster that way. That's exactly what I want. If I'm on the ground and I want to go up more and I jump, I'm going to go up more. So I literally just think about it. If I want to pump going this slow all the way to the coping, I just try to jump all the way to the coping. It's the only thing that's ever worked for me, and it's the only thing that's ever made sense. Goofy skaters, we gotta have each other's back, dude. There's no way. The regular stance skaters are trying to take us out. I know it. In Australia, what do they call it? They don't call it regular. They call it natural, normal, natural, and goofy. No, it's unnatural. Goofy skaters unite. It's like being left-handed. New trick bounty is on kickflips. I can only do tray flip on marble floor. My question to you is, how have you skated on enough marble floors to know that? Let's see a switchback tail. That might be one of the top trick bounties of the night. We'll just have to see. Wear a helmet and drop in. I don't have a helmet, actually. Not on me. Just normal bill. I 100% am stoked that you sent that message, because I feel like pumping is one of these mysterious things that is like magic. Whenever anyone explains it, they start getting MIT math degree professors involved. They have illustrations of swing sets, and they're showing graphics of things that don't make sense, like bowling balls going down a slide, and it's just like, guys, I'm sure there's a lot going on. Jump. The end. Switch skater taking over. Nikki, you know, I should just skate regular from now on. I think I'd be better off. Trick tip flat ground. 900. I would love to do a vert live stream. I think one day that would make a lot of sense. I would enjoy that. Maybe we'll have an opportunity at some contest one day that I'm just hanging out at to hop on the ramp, get this camera rolling, answer guys' questions, maybe interview some guys on the deck. I'm just spitballing. Sounds doable. Sounds like a lot of fun. Sounds like the best vert live stream I could imagine. What's up, South Korea? welcome to this stream. Michael Kellogg, I love it. I'm happy to inspire you. 31 is young. You're a spring chicken. I've never ridden Ricta Clouds. I've only really ridden like Bones and Spitfire and OJ wheels. We have some shorts on Impossibles. We won't cover Impossibles tonight in this stream. If you guys want to request a tutorial, that goal ends in 4 minutes and 30 seconds. Just click the goal up in the top corner and check out how it works. How about some Smith stalls and a Smith slide? Okay, let's hit it. Let's hit the next trick. Brock, would you do me a favor? Take a quick look at the list and see what we got next. I know it's gonna be a fun one. I was really excited to get into these. I'm gonna have to watch the delay to know. Switch rock. Let's move from. We'll quickly do switch rock. The reason quickly is because we're just going to talk about how to seamlessly switch your stance and then follow the same idea that we do on the rock to fake. Okay, I just want you to look at the direction of my feet. If my feet are pointing either way, it's going to be a lot easier for me to turn to switch and then back to forward. If both my feet are facing this way, it's not going to be very easy. When you're skating switch, it's a good idea to take your new back foot and try to turn it backwards or facing the target. This will get your hips moving. This will make it easier to open up your front foot. And it's gonna feel insanely awkward. But if you just do some double taps like this with your feet both facing your new stance, you're gonna have a lot easier time long term. I would take your 20 minutes in this stance, just get used to the basics. And then when you go do your switch rocks, you take a more natural stance and you just go back and forth and follow the momentum, follow the rhythm, and really try, once you get more comfortable, to treat it like it's your regular stance. You notice when I switch my stance, all of a sudden it becomes easier to do rock to fakie than nose stall. But it looks like a tail stall and it feels like a tail stall. So that's my quick rant on switch rocks. Exactly the same as a regular rock to fakie, but your effort is going to be put in switching your stance. And we'll get straight to the next tutorial.
Backslash.
If you're goofy, learn to skate regular, start that way, then get into goofy. You know, I've thought about that. Like, day one, you're naturally a goofy skater, but you ignore it and you build up your regular stance. When you switch to goofy again, will you be the best switch skater to ever touch a skateboard? I don't know. Are you really front-loading switch? Does that work? Does that change the definition of switch? I think this next generation is going to be a lot more ambidextrous than we ever were. We're already seeing tricks we'd ever expected to see, but I think it's even going to get more and more like, okay, he did that regular stance, he did that goofy stance. If you're not doing tricks in both, you're kind of just going to fall by the wayside, at least in the professional scene. I don't know. That's what I think. That's kind of what I tried to do on vert. Never even close to matching my own skating, but it was a goal of mine. I always tried to make sure I worked on my switch backside airs and 5-0s and the simple stuff that if you just get it right, it looks so crispy and cool. All right, backside slash grinds. It's basically a kick turn on steroids, but we're gonna focus on the pump and where you're looking. So the biggest problem that people run into on slash grinds is they forget to pump and they look behind them. Drives me up the wall. So, if you pump, stretch up the wall, and you're chill about your kick turn, you can delay that rotation and get all the way up to the coping a lot easier than if you're anti-pumping. And your eyes are gonna stay on your toe side, and they're gonna look straight down at your skateboard once you get to the top. All right, we're gonna lock in on the coping, lock in, skateboard, lock in, skateboard. That heel side of the back truck, okay? And we can just repeat this all the way up. Once you get up to the slash, make sure that you are pushing your heel into the coping. So if you get all the way up here and your back trucks are just over the coping, you have all this weight on your back toe, you might actually do a one-wheel manual around the coping. I've seen this a lot. So just push this back heel down into the coping by picking up your toes. That will really stabilize your grind, make it a lot easier to get this strong, loud, smooth backside slash. I wish I could read that Japanese. I've tried to learn Japanese twice. I'm gonna do it again. I get really excited, spend like 3 months, and then, but I love it, and I'm gonna keep doing it because that makes me really happy. And blondes, what's the best mini ramp height for beginners? It's a good question. Very small. Best mini ramp height is the smallest one you can find, where you can still get a little bit of pump out of it. All right. Could you do a cruising guide essentials video? Like ollie, power slides, getting over cracks? Yeah, that sounds wonderful. I would love to do one of those. Oh, hello from Japan. Let's see if I can, oh yeah. Is that Nihongo ga konnichiwa? Yeah, that's what that says. Yeah, that's exactly what that says. I can read that. Sorry. I just didn't trust that I actually could read it. All this just to watch AOT without subs. Nikki, if you knew how right you were, I watch it without subs anyways, and can't understand anything, and I absolutely love the show. It's like my second or third watch through. I just keep starting it. 4-foot mini ramp for the win. That's definitely true. Okay, I'm gonna do a backside rock and roll. Rock in roll. I think it's literally an N, even if you say it slow. Rock and roll. Rock and roll, baby. All right. I can't believe I could read that. I had the one opportunity to use my Japanese reading skills that I worked on so hard for 21 days straight 4 months ago, and I didn't. What am I training for if I'm not gonna do that? Okay, rock and rolls. I'm gonna do one. I'm gonna do two. Low and decked. Even after all these years, it surprises me that I can do tricks on a skateboard. I don't know why. I think they're scary and I think they're fun, and I find it always like a pleasant surprise when I can do it. Rock and rolls are one of those because they lock in so nicely and you get that right balance point and it just sits in the ramp and just comes around for free. One of the best tricks ever. How much you rotate your body and when you rotate your body, and how to lift up your front leg properly. So there's 3 things. We're gonna start with how much you rotate, because the answer is more than you think. I want you to turn yourself around on the way into the rock to fakie and then turn out of it after. Okay? This is the opposite way that I teach kick turns. I teach kick turns, wind up, spin everything together, because I think this skill is very important. We can abandon that for a minute, abandon cart, turn our body around, step forward. Okay? And you're gonna notice a very small detail in your back foot. Watch, if I turn around, then I move my board that way. My back foot is actually pivoting on the tail as the board is rotating. My back foot isn't following the board around because that's very awkward. I'm doing a full rotation and then letting my board pivot around that back foot. Okay. Now, when do we rotate? How early can I just rotate, like, can I just face this way the whole time and then do it? I'm sure, but I don't think it would, I think it would be suboptimal because we want the rotation to get down to the board. All right, our board and our body are 2 separate pieces. So if I rotate my body and leave my board behind, there's a split second where my board is gonna catch up to me, right? I'm not just sitting there like this. It's a dynamic position, right? It's both a body position and a momentum working together. So I'm gonna start open, and then I'm gonna rotate strong, and then get out of it, right? Open, rotate, then done, right? That's different than just starting like this. Number 3 is what to do with your front foot. And I love this answer because it's the same answer every single time. I cannot think of a time where the answer is not the same. You take your front foot and you lift it into the air. If you have not mastered this skill, you are genuinely holding yourself back. If your front foot moves forward, backwards, side to side, any other direction besides up and then whatever you want to do, it doesn't make any sense. You're probably really struggling with your tricks. I wish I could show you what it's like to hang up on a rock and roll because you're not picking up your front foot, but I want to be able to do a stream tomorrow. So that means I have to be healthy, which means I can't face plant right now. So I'm going to get into this rock and roll, and then I'm just going to lift this front leg up into the air and let my momentum and my rotation take place naturally. When I'm rotated and then I lift it, it swings around. If I don't lift it, it is gonna run into the coping and I'm gonna, what's the line? When you French fry, when you're supposed to pizza, you're gonna have a bad time. Varials. Wesley, we are doing tutorial requests intermittently throughout the stream. Make sure you keep track of the goal so you can see when that's live. We're running through our transition guide A to Z right now, or A to whatever letter we get to. What is the order in which I should learn mini ramp tricks? It's a great question. We have some content coming around surrounding this idea, so make sure you press subscribe right now to our channel so you don't miss our next transition video or our next live stream that we do. When it comes to choosing the order, I believe that you should learn a wide range of very approachable, safe, and easy tricks to start your skill set from a nice foundation, rather than following one skill tree too far, like 50-50, 5-0, Smith grind, back tail, back disaster revert. It's like, okay, we gotta learn fakie stuff and switch kick turns and frontside kick turns and slash grinds. And, you know, I'm more of a set a big, strong foundation. Then you can build a tall building on top of that. While I do a heel flip, my front foot will always be on the ground or under my board. We can do more heel flip content because it seems like a lot of you guys really want that, which honestly, I'm thankful because I love heel flips. I just find it very surprising. Tomorrow, we might be focused more on flip tricks or flat ground. I'm not sure. We haven't decided yet. But we will definitely make time to do heel flip content very soon. David Hall just became a member. Welcome. Happy to call you a skate nerd. Thank you for supporting the channel. Really helps. We want to do this a lot more. All proceeds go to Brock's hydration, and he's behind the camera, so if he gets dehydrated, we're going to have a bad time. So thank you, David. Luan, we will get to that. I can almost promise. Rock fakies, tail stall, axle stall. Yep, done. What do you mean pumping around a bowl backwards? Is that just switch skating? Is that a weird foot position? Is that fakie? Manuals are not only a matter of trial and error and experience. Manuals also have technique and trial, error, and experience. Granius also became a member. Skate nerds, thank you very much. All proceeds go to Brock's exotic hat collection. So without you guys, Brock would be getting sunburned every time he wants to film us, and we can't be having that. The hospital bills would be way too much. Any tips on progressing towards front tail stalls and tail slides? Yes, I am happy to help with that. Let's touch on some disasters and build some of these 180s out. So, when it comes to rotating, we are always, almost always, floating and rotating. So that means we have to have a good pump, and that means we have to have a good wind up. That means we have to have great speed control and at least a decent ability to move our feet around on the board. Disasters and tail slides start to get into these intermediate level tricks where you have to have a baseline of tricks and you got to be able to make adjustments along the way. So when we're looking at a disaster, I'm not talking about the disaster like this. I'm talking about the one where you can sit on the coping without either of your wheels hitting the ground, counter rotate with your upper body, and get in nicely, okay? The first thing that we want to do is trust our rotation because we're going to have to rotate and stop the rotation. So to trust it, I want you to wind up and just float and spin over the deck. It's very simple. Once you get that down, slow down so you land on the coping. Then, once you get here, this is going to be a matter of consistency, okay? Get into that position and stop your rotation by counter-rotating your upper body. This is going to be a little bit different because you're used to throwing. Now you're going to have to throw and then stop it. You're going to have to get great control of your body, okay? But you are in control. You can stop, when you're in the air, you can stop your shoulders, rotate them the other way. Once you can do that, all I want you to do is center your weight over your front foot. So I feel like I am staying in the ramp the whole time, and I'm getting to right here. Literally, it feels like my back foot comes out. It doesn't, but it feels like it comes out, and my upper body is this way. And then I lift that back leg to come back in the ramp. Okay? Very simple back disaster, but that's with like proper style, proper technique. If you do end up on the deck on your back foot, over-rotated, on your toes, it's not the end of the world. That happens. That's going to happen to most of you guys watching. That's okay, but that's how you bridge the gap from there to a little bit cleaner, a little bit smoother, something that works on bigger transitions. I find frontside a little bit harder. I find myself having to pop harder and work harder to get into it. But all the same tools apply. You gotta rotate, you gotta keep your weight over your front foot, counter rotate with your upper body, and then lift that back leg on the way in. If you're having trouble popping into your frontside disasters, I have a very simple and useful tip for you. Your front foot is probably dragging to the side before it's coming up. And this is one of those few times where I actually like agree with you. I wish we could do that as well. It makes so much sense. Like, you're looking at it and you're like, oh, I want to go front side. I move my front foot down, right? That'll rotate it. Unfortunately, just messes up my balance, messes up my pop. So when you're popping, you still got to pick your front foot up in front of you and then around. You just got to make sure you get that ollie first. And then it'll rotate front side. Okay, that's like the basics of disasters. I would love to turn those into some tail stalls. Let's see if we have any questions just right there. Yeah, everyman, we are out here grinding. There is no doubt about that. We're filming content on when we're not streaming. I mean, we're at home building stuff for Skate IQ. I mean, it's what all three of us do all the time, and I absolutely love it. It's my baby. Thank you, Larry Bird. Happy it's been helpful. I do have trouble popping off the lip. It has been my biggest problem with frontside, and I'm so happy I fixed that. Cody rocks. Dude, like, trust me, it's taken me forever to find that piece of lifting that front foot up to confirm that pop first. I always threw everything around the corner. I was trying heel flip frontside airs on vert for probably a decade. Not even kidding. I would go to flat every time. I could not figure it out. I could not teach it. I could not work it out. Everyone's best tip was wait to flip it, which don't even get me started. Lifted up my front foot once, and I stayed close to the ramp, and it flipped into my hand, and I didn't even make it. I was just so upset that it was that simple, and I put it on my feet, and then I did a knee slide, and I'm pretty sure I just got in my car and went home. And I don't think that's a joke at all. Like, I seriously did it, and I spent so much time trying that trick, and it worked perfectly, and I didn't even bother like grinding it out. I was like, I'm done for today. Hit like for our boy MB. Yeah, I mean, I think if you guys press like and subscribe while this is live, that helps the algorithm send the VOD out into the YouTube sphere after the live, and that will really help us grow. That's how YouTube works. It's different than other streaming services. The VOD is a very important part of the whole program, which is honestly a part of the reason that we're running it in the structure we are, because we want it to have rewatchable value. I'm so scared. That's a funny message. Okay, let's go to mute. No, I have not done frontside rock and roll. Let me do a tail stall, like frontside tail stall, and then we'll touch on frontside rock and roll. Not only does it boost the VOD, but it boosts the stream live too. Thank you, Dub. Let's make sure you guys are out here pressing that like button on the actual video. I'm not sure if the heart in the corner, but I'm sure all of it helps. Really, it's as simple as the bigger this thing gets, the more we can do it. If you enjoy the content, if you learn from Skate IQ, we're happy to put in the time to help you guys and to answer your questions. I love this more than anything. The bigger the stream gets, the more we get to do it, because the more we can focus on it. We are doing a frontside tail stall, which is essentially a frontside tail slide. Up to you. Carve a bit more. It should slide. If you do it on masonite, it'll slide. If you do it on concrete, it might not. So let me see if I can do one to start. Nope. I actually thought that was going to slide. So, one of the things that I like to pay attention to is stepping forward with my back foot. This is something that was never explained to me, and I always struggled with tail stalls on vert because of it. You know, I was very naturally good at backside and very naturally terrible at frontside. Something I avoided my whole life. I ended up bridging that gap a little bit later in my career in the comp scene, but it never really got to the point that I wanted it. Actually, I found a great workaround. I just started doing switch backside, which is frontside, essentially. But my body position, I could move it around so I could spin frontside and just treat it like backside because I understood backside so well. Anyways, step forward with your back foot so you can pop and then pick up your back foot and wah, stand on the coping. Okay, just like the front disasters, we want to avoid this issue where we're so worried about rotating that we throw ourselves out of the trick. Okay, if you throw yourself up and around, you're gonna end up with your hips out, your upper body up. You're not gonna have any control on the actual tail stall. So we're gonna make sure that we're getting this pop nice and strong, and then you're stepping up and forward with your back foot and standing strong on the coping with your upper body down and in. That's a very important piece. We're not throwing our upper body out of the trick. We are rotating around and keeping our upper body down and in. Wah! And then drop in out of it. Another thing that really helps with is when you're down and in like this, you can really push that back foot forward, right? No matter how much friction, if I need a little bit of slide, I can push from that position. So that's the main thing, that's my goal. I'm trying to get over it in a way that I can push if I need to adjust that slide or get my balance back a little bit. Eyes are on the coping, very simple. Do you remember coming to KBS Indoor Park, Port Orchard, when you were a kid? Your mom brought you a few times. I was the assistant manager. Yeah, I mean, I went to, I don't know where Port Orchard is. Look, I went to a lot of parks. I can imagine, I hope it's the one with like that wooden 10-stair, that first 10-stair I ever ollied, but I actually don't know which one that is. I remember going to a lot of different skate parks. And appreciate all you guys, the managers and the skate park employees, because everyone was always super nice to us, especially when I was really young and we didn't know anything about skateboarding. And you guys were very supportive and, you know, wanted us there. 200 likes, that's sick. We don't have the heart in the corner, doesn't change like button count. You can just spam it, which everyone is doing. I don't hate it. Makes me feel loved. Hearts flying all over the screen. Come in at a helpful angle and think about it, just scrape of the tail. Yes, that works very good, especially if you're not running into that issue where you're falling up and backwards with the rest of your body. If you're pretty dialed on your balance, not going to be a problem. Hey, new skateboarder here. I can ride around okay, but I skate Mongo. Is there a fast and easy way to learn how to skate like a normal human being? So, I don't know how much of it's going to be natural tendencies. I don't know how much of it's just going to be that's what you've practiced. If you spend the same amount of time practicing your regular push as you spent pushing Mongo, you'll probably be half or 75% as good as your strong side, which is plenty generally. So it takes a long time to bridge that gap. I think it's worth learning how to push both ways just because I like it. I like skating switch. I like for it to feel natural. I also have learned a lot about pushing just by trying to learn how to push the weak side. There are benefits that aren't just how you look, even though that's a great one. Mick Polek, you are impressively good at explaining skateboard tricks. Thank you. I appreciate that. I sure hope that it's working, because if it's not, then this channel is going to have a tough time. I genuinely can't do front blunts well enough to teach them. I know the concepts, I know the ideas. I haven't gotten around to really grinding them and dialing them in myself, so I'm going to hold off on that. You look like Zlatan. I don't know how to say his name. I've only read it, but that's hilarious, and it's not the first time that I've got that. Throw it on. And he is such a legend. Like, that's one of the best compliments that I could ever get. All the highlights I've ever seen of this guy, he is just he's just such a G. We're gonna hit stand-up frontside grinds next. John, you hold on tight. JD Sanchez might be good to have on just for front blunts and honestly every flip trick on vert. He's mastered that frontside rotation that I never really got. I'm a huge JD fan. I'm hoping him the best in this upcoming contest season. I think he had his breakout season last year. He just struggled plugging all his tricks in at the right time. He won every single practice, but once the clock started, I think he had a little bit of a tougher time navigating, and I partly think that's just from being newer on the comp scene, and now that he's got his legs wet, I think he's gonna be absolutely killer. Feet wet, is that what it is? Yeah. All right. We're gonna do frontside grinds. To do a frontside grind, we first have to start with some of the basic principles of how we're going to balance in a frontside kick turn. A lot of the really important things we covered at the beginning of the stream when we were talking about back foot placement. So if we look at the back foot placement when you're dropping in and you got your heel on the ground, this is a great place for you to live for your frontside kick turns. This will naturally stop you from falling over the toe side while you're rotating, make it really easy to stay on this heel side, and get you more compact, smaller, and more predictable. So, I'm gonna put my back foot into place. I'm a little weird. I like to turn my back foot backwards, but it's probably because I've skated a lot of switch, and I also don't like leaning too far forward because this messes up my flip tricks. There's been a lot of reasons that I have my back foot a little backwards. Works for me. If it doesn't work for you, that's just fine. Little technique that I like to use for my own skating is I just knock my inside of my heel up against this rail right over the truck, and that's where I let my foot sit. I could imagine that this is a pretty awkward feeling if you've never done it, but I find it the most comfortable because to turn frontside, I can just push into my back foot, and I'm turning frontside super sharp, and I don't really have to change much else. I find that pretty comforting. So, we're gonna do low frontside kick turns, and we're gonna avoid this tendency of over-rotating. This is probably the biggest problem you'll run into, is you just wanna look where you're going, and you end up ruining your frontside kick turns. So, we're gonna let ourselves coast up the ramp a little bit higher, and then turn with our body and board at the same time. You're gonna have to accept that you might be skating out, not looking exactly where you're going, right? That's just fine. That's not that big of a deal. It'll take some practice, but you'll get it down. We're doing this because the more we can skate forward towards the direction we're going, the higher we can reach that frontside kick turn up to the grind, okay? The biggest problem with rotating is we're gonna keep our kick turns low accidentally. Because if I turn, that's just gonna stop me wherever I start my turn. So we wanna be able to start my turn in a way where I can reach it up to the coping, okay? A great way to extend that height is take my back foot, push it up towards the coping after I lift my front truck in the air. I lift my front truck in the air, push it forward, and that'll ride me all the way up to the coping. Let's confirm a frontside slash grind. Really focusing on heel pressure while that grind is happening, being smooth and slow in the rotation. Okay. Crash course. I mean, that's a super fast crash course on frontside slash grinds. Now let's stand up the frontside grinds. Not a whole lot changes. Rotate less, rotate slower, stronger in your back leg, stand up tall. Okay, standing up tall is your legs relative to your body, or how tall you're standing on your board. It's not standing up tall on the deck. Just standing up taller isn't gonna put you over the deck. That's done by speed. So I can stand up real tall and stay in the ramp, which I would recommend just as a general piece of advice. Like, don't be afraid to stand tall on your skateboard, especially while you're pumping. But since you're on the deck now, you're gonna have to stand tall, you're gonna have to stand stronger because you got gravity pushing into you on the deck. Just go fast enough where you naturally roll up over the deck, and work on keeping your foot placement exactly the same, and work on getting your back wheels up against the coping. Your back heel side wheel, boom, all the way up against the coping. Frontside grinds are one of those tricks that reward you for pushing into the coping nice and hard, right? If you get really weak, it can be hard to hold that grind. So pump up the wall, stand up strong, really dial in your weight on that back foot, and should be pretty good. It's a steep learning curve at first. They're like hard to learn, but easier to master. There we go, there's Allie. We were looking for you. You were in a Fortnite tournament, okay, fair enough. The thing I can't grasp is ollieing in transition. Wow, thank you very much for bringing this up, because that is one of my favorite things ever. I'm gonna answer some questions, drink some water. We're gonna cover some popping tricks. Tray flip bounties live in the chat, by the way. Click the goal to see the details. All right. Do you wheel bite on purpose for frontside grinds? Yeah, I try to pinch my the wood of the board up against the wheel, up against the coping to lock in the frontside grind. There's really no other way to do it for me. Sarek, links in chat. Pick up Skate IQ deck. That easy. Giovanna, that's a good question. Not steep ramps or a steep ramp to learn how to drop in. It's one of those things where confidence is your best friend. So if you're more confident on one that's not as steep, do that. Some people have trouble dropping in on banks. They find it harder, especially after they can drop in on a quarter pipe. I would find the thing that scares you the least and do it a lot. Ollie to fakie for sure. Okay, that sounds good. That is what is up, David Hall. We just hit that tray flip bounty. I love it. Thank you for the support. Thank you for being a sub. We love doing what we're doing. And my legs are actually smoked. I have been skating a lot today. Let's see if we can do a nighttime tray bomb. All right. Woo! That was a good one. Thank you, David. Much love. Tray flip bounty checked off. Bro, I just got here button. Oh, on the website. It's hilarious. That pop-up, man, that hot tub was so nice, and it was taken from us while we were staying there in New Zealand. Brock, our filmer, absolutely loved that thing. Spent every evening in the hot tub, and then halfway through our stay, they said the hot tub's going, moving it to a different house. Big W, David. Thank you, guys. That's awesome. Learning to not push right Mongo right now, thanks to you. It's funny, because I'm not, like, anti-pushing Mongo. We've never put out any content. We've just been teaching you guys how to push switch, and it's like it's the motivation you've been looking for to stop pushing Mongo. Watch you land at 1260. That's what's up. It's crazy that it was barely acknowledged in person. No announcements or anything. Yeah, I think everyone was really confused about what ended up really happening. I don't know. I was confused. I got second place. It's kind of just hard to keep up with. You know, there's so much going on at X Games. So let's do some popping. Oh my God. Tyler just put a switch backside flip bounty in chat. I cannot believe you guys. They're conspiring against me. Oh God. Okay, switch backside flip bounty is live in chat, so if any of you guys want to put me through some terrible grindiness, let's do it. I'm all about it. Better hit it before the stream ends though. So, we're gonna do some popping. I think popping on transition is one of the coolest physics things about skateboarding. We can treat it like a trampoline. This is where we can start using G-forces into the ground. Wow, using our speed and having it turn into height. Change our pump to change our pop. It is beautiful. It's what made me really fall in love with skateboarding, and it's why I will never stop. When I'm older and I can't jump or ollie or kickflip, I could probably get up and down a transition and probably float a little bit. And that will be really nice. So, what we're gonna do is first start with the natural thing that everyone does. And it's bend down to ollie too late. Okay, if I stand up tall in the flat bottom and then crush myself into the transition and then jump, it's gonna be all wonky. It's gonna mess up my speed, and I'll show you an example. Like if I go fast and I do that, it's really annoying. Now look, now I'm going nowhere. All right, so whenever we pop, whenever we do a trick, we wanna keep our speed or gain speed. That's what's gonna keep our G-forces really consistent. That's what's gonna keep our skateboard more predictable. So we gotta pair our pump with that ollie, okay? Even though we're pumping, we can wait to ollie a little bit longer. But the most important thing is, on transition, we wanna keep our ollies small. Everyone wants to ollie really high, because I think they think that means you go higher, but it's not, right? If I'm on the wall and I ollie really high, I'm just gonna ollie this way. That has nothing to do with how high you go. So if you wanna go higher, you should go faster, so you pump harder, right? What confuses people is when you pump up the transition, then your legs are straight and you feel like it's not gonna jump, which usually would make sense. But gravity is pulling you down. When you go up a transition, gravity is not pulling you towards the transition. So it doesn't matter. All you gotta do is pick up your legs. When you're up here, gravity is this way. So you can just pick up your board and you're not really being pulled to the ramp in the same way. So if I tried to ollie on flat ground, yeah, gravity is gonna get me stuck to the ground. But if I just wait and go up a wall, and then do that same thing, I can float. Gravity is not pulling you at the vert wall. It feels like it is because you have G-forces into the wall. But as long as you counter those G-forces by pumping, now you have freed yourself from gravity, and if you jump higher, you can ollie way bigger, further away from the wall than you could ever imagine. It's all about pairing your pump with your pop in a way that gives your legs, gives your hips space from the wall, so you can lift up your feet super high and get a strong pop, okay? Now we're gonna do ollie rock to fakie. To do an ollie rock to fakie, I want you to go at a speed you would just slower than a regular rock to fakie, right? Something like right around here. And then I want you to pump up the wall strong so you can get up into your rock. But while you pump, ollie super high. You're gonna see that if you ollie early enough, you can stay low and really get a strong pop up the wall. If you've ever struggled with popping on transition, that drill right there could solve it. To make sure we hit the tail on the ground, you want to make sure that you're picking up your front leg straight up with your foot to the inside of your knee just a little bit. I think about this like bringing my foot towards my back shoulder. Works just fine. When you're on a transition, the tendency is going to be to pick your foot up the wall because you're trying to slide it forward. But in reality, even though you're on the side, you got to bring your front foot up to your back shoulder. So you're going to have to bring your foot up away from the wall so you can make sure your nose can get into the air this way, because that's how it's going to pop. This board is not going to pop up and forward. That doesn't make any sense. We want to make sure we get the tail to the ground. The only way we get the tail to the ground is by creating space with that front foot. I'm going to need a phone for chat.
Got it.
Mine is officially dead.
There you go.
Tyler's phone died too. We only have Brock's phone. Mitchie let board roll away. I know. Jay, I don't know. I don't know, Jay. Why don't you let me know? No problem. Sweet. We have multiple portable chargers with us right now. Okay. So, I think I'm very happy with where this stream's at right now. I think we covered a lot of the simple, basic stuff that we planned on covering as an intro to the transition skating. We got a great idea to do Ghost Ride the Whip, so we're gonna do that next. It's a little different. It's a little more focused on fun. It's not one of those foundational tricks that we've been doing, but it's gonna be good. How to you? Okay, cool. Hey Harold, welcome back. So, a Ghost Ride the Whip. The first thing that we want to do is make sure that the coping is going to bounce the board off of it. So, we need to find a spot on the ramp very specifically where when we push that board up, it wants to shoot into the air. So we can get a very simple strategy. What do we call them? Road runners. We could do some road runners to warm up our Ghost Ride the Whips. I bet you never thought you'd hear that sentence. All right, so it's actually quite simple. It's just hard to pull off. So you can just push like regular and just send it forward and run and jump on it. Might be a little bit freaky at first, especially if you're newer to running and jumping on the transitions. You can practice all these little guys. I've done this for hours and hours and hours and hours on transition, which we should make a reel about, by the way. Then when you Ghost Ride the Whip, you just push it a little faster and catch the nose right at the coping. Once you do that, all you gotta do is jump onto it, and you can just make it seamless. Okay? And then you just let it fly. It's pretty fun. Double fakie ollie, please. I don't know what that means. It wasn't supposed to be funny. I'm seeking love. Jay, you're down bad. You're down bad, bro. You gotta get that worked out. Maybe see a doctor. Just tuned in. We started with tail stalls, so YouTube, the great part about YouTube VODs is you can just rewind and you'll be set. Roadrunner, meet, meet. Yeah, let's touch on some blunt to fakies real quick. Maybe frontside ollies. That could be good. Allie, don't worry. Don't worry about the cartwheel. We'll get you sorted. Okay, we talked a little bit about frontside ollies when we did the tail stall, or the frontside tail stall. But you can confirm your pop by making sure you're picking up your front foot up to the inside and in front of you, right? This motion doesn't change even though you're going frontside. If you're going frontside, it's easy to sweep your front foot around too fast. You can pick it up in front of you and then bring it around, okay? If you have trouble, we dive into this concept a lot more earlier in our frontside tail stall. So just rewind and find the timestamp. Another skill that you can learn is just leave your upper body backwards and skate out of it facing the transition. This will make it a lot easier to rotate your feet independently from your body, give you a lot of confidence in your frontside ollies that you can come out of them easily. And for the blunts. Okay, so I love blunts because honestly, there's a lot of different variations, and once you get good at them, they're just They're not easy, because I don't like saying that because it seems like it's like offhanded. Like, oh, blunts are so easy. But once you put the time in to learn them properly, they do become a trick that you can lean on and do everywhere. So it's one of those hard to learn, easier to master. And we're gonna start by just locking our tail to the coping and going to the deck. I think that's a great way to ease into your blunts. Push your back foot strong into the coping and then stand up on the deck. And all we're gonna do is stop that stand up about right here. And we're gonna jump super high off of our back foot, but treat it like we're trying to balance over the deck still. This should unlock the back wheels and get you into a blunt rock to fakie. There's a little bit of movement in that front foot that becomes natural. If you struggle with that, just work on your ollies till it's second nature. Because when that jump happens, you should feel that tension in that front foot, and it should move out of the way just a little bit. Keep your shoulders flat over the deck. That's what will stand you up into the rock. When you're ready to try blunts into the ramp, just stay in the ramp and grab the nose and pull on it. Jump and pull. Really work on your rock to fakies. Really keep yourself dialed on all these basic tricks we talked about. Ollie rock, rock to fakie, pop rocks, all this stuff. Then I want you to set up for an ollie, the strongest ollie that you can do, and just pop so hard out of your blunt that it will blow you away. But don't think about it like you're popping a blunt. Don't think about it like you're trying to pull yourself in the ramp. I want you to think about it like you're trying the biggest ollie that you can do out of a blunt stall. That's an easier way to get yourself back in the ramp. Yeah, Jay, just grab the nose, Jay. Henry, no, come on. You can get out there. You can have a good time. While your wife is snoring, that's just fine. I stick on frontside lip slides half the time. Just rewind the stream. We touched on front disasters and front tails and all that stuff earlier, that body position where you can push through the coping. I think that'll be really helpful. Got my sub. Thanks for being a sub to the channel, dude. I really appreciate it. Lucas, no problem. Yeah, I'm looking forward to all this progress you guys are making. I love reading the comments, and we just went back, like, we posted a kickflip video that was like kickflip in 60 days. And I went like 60 days later. Maybe 75 days later, who's counting? But we saw all these comments. It's like I made my first kickflip. And that's so special to me. I mean, I remember what it was like to learn a kickflip, and I really have no idea of how many people I'm like playing a part in their progress. It's a bit of a trip, especially when we do lives and maybe go to events where like there's a huge crowd of people that are like telling me that they learned things from watching us. And that's great. I'm coming to Minnesota on May 16th, 17th-ish. We're dropping the link in chat right now. Mitchie, Peter. Wait, your name is Peter. Nice. Peter. I have no plans in coming to Indiana. Well, I taught you how to kickflip too? Oh, that's awesome. Okay, we'll let this Minnesota thing come to the chat. I am honestly exhausted. I don't think it would be safe for me to go on too many more tangents, teaching a bunch of tricks. We would like to come back tomorrow, film more content. So we're pretty much at the stage at the end of the stream. I just want to thank you guys for like the support. You guys keep watching, keep subbing. That trick bounty was pretty fun. And I hope you found a lot of value in the transition skating. I know it's a little bit more niche. Not as many people are into it as, say, like tray flips or heel flips. But I think it's too important to be ignored. So we get to focus on it because we have a great mini ramp here, and we're just very fortunate that we can come run a live stream from here, so we want to use it. And I also challenge you guys to maybe get out of your comfort zone a little bit, spend some more time on the transition, because you'll only be a stronger skateboarder because of it. Big W stream. I love it. I can't believe you guys all learning how to ollie and kickflip because of this channel. That's awesome. I learned kickflips at age 5, not 2. Common misconception though. You're also playing a part in young men's lives turning into distinguished gentlemen. Ali, you are the MVP of chat every day. I don't know how you do it. W stream, W stream, W stream, kickflips and ollies. I absolutely love you guys. Yesterday, we messed up the end of the stream because I was supposed to end it on a cartwheel, and it ended 2 minutes before. Okay, I'm gonna go do my cartwheel to end this guy, and we're gonna wait 3 seconds after I do it to press end so it makes sure it gets in. We should make sure the cartwheel pops up on the stream. You guys better not do a trick bounty right now. I'd be really upset. Okay. See you guys. Oh, that was a good one. I actually got vertical. It's so bad.
Do you see it?
It's so bad, yeah.